Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So happy Chinese New Year to all who are celebrating the uh, the spring season, and good afternoon to everybody else. Okay, so today we are going to talk about an interesting topic over here. It's a continuation from what we have learned last session, which is about relationship. So last session, we talk about also patterns. We talk about using Healy to find out what are our deeper issues. So we talk about how the mother wound, okay, and our relationship with our mother, how it actually affect our relationship with our spouse, and how it, translate to a lot of other relationship issues. So I talk about how to use the aura and then the Healy coach as well to find out the deeper issues, not only the issues that's related to our current life, but also, what we have inherited from our parents, grandparents, ancestors, or even our past lives. So, yeah, so what we are going through is not just our own creation. Some of the problems that we have are inherited. And today we are going into identifying, true conflicts that it shows forth our emotional pattern and the issues that are hidden deep inside. Okay, so before we begin, I will go through the disclaimer that this session here is for educational purpose. And as I share about how to use Healy and MagHealy, okay, these are based on my own experience. So therefore, you have to experience it yourself and then make your own judgment, discretion, whether it's suitable for you or whether you have to tweak a little bit on the usage. All right. So do not take everything that I share wholesale, as if it's a recommendation. All right. So the Healy and MagHealy programs, today we are doing it to harmonize relationships. Okay. But if you're using it to support your health, please be advised that the Healy and MagHealy, they are not medical advice and not medical device. So therefore, you still need to seek professional help if you have any health concerns. Okay, that's very important. So this platform here is provided by Healy World. So I'm sharing with you from my own personal capacity, my experience, so that we can all learn together. So the session is recorded and will be published on social media. So if you're asking any questions later on, so be aware that what you say will be included, all right, will be published as well. Okay, so a little bit about myself for those who are joining us for the first time. I'm Christi Wong from Singapore, and I am an energetic profiling life coach for several years now. And then I have counseling, meridians background, as well as biology. So when I do my sharing, everything is encompassed inside as well. Okay, so I have used Healy and MagHealy for coming close to 4 years now. And then prior to that, I used similar kind of devices for about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. All right. Yeah. So I have compiled all this knowledge and put together for those who wish to actually learn how to use Healy in a much deeper manner. And from my sharing, I always want to go deep so that we can maximize all the tools that we have in Healy and MagHealy. So today our topic is about conflict and emotional pattern. So because when we quarrel or when we fight or have a conflict about any issue, actually it was not the issue itself. Yeah, so it is not that surface issue, but through a conflict, you can actually uncover why you are triggered, why you behave, or why somebody that you know behave in that particular manner. And then after that, we are using Healy and MagHealy programs to harmonize our field so that we can actually heal the relationships before things get worse. All right? Okay, so we are going to talk about our what is hidden in our subconscious mind. We quarrel over little things. Whether you squeeze how you squeeze the toothpaste. Whether it's from this end or from the middle. Sometimes we fight over these things. Yeah. So why are we fighting? Why can't we let people be who they are? You know, yeah. So why is it that we have certain boundaries and some people don't have those boundaries? Yeah. So today we are going to understand when the person is in the midst of the conflict, when things explode, that is the best time to actually use Healy, okay, to analyze, to actually look into the issues that surface. All right, so we are going to look at how to use the power of three and job programs in Healy and then the McMakin programs as well. All right, so do not be afraid of conflict. All right, because conflict will reflect the underlying issues and we want this to surface. If they don't surface, we have no idea. But after it surface, what we do with it, that is important because you can either have a cold war after that or, okay, you just sweep everything under the cupboard or you suppress it and then it leads to other kinds of issue. Okay, so yeah. So I'm going to show you a video, all right? And there's no sound. Okay, don't go and panic and then press all the volume button. It has nothing to do with sound. You're only watching a video, and I do not want the sound to actually distract you from actually focusing on the video that you're going to watch. Okay. Now, as you watch, I want you to recall a conflict that you have ever got involved in. Okay, the worst conflict that you can ever think of. Okay, yeah, whether it's present or whether it's sometime before. Now, this conflict may involve you with your parents, you with your in-laws, you with your spouse, you with your son or your daughter, okay, or with your neighbors, or with your colleagues, or with your boss, anyone, okay? A bad one. That means something severe. Okay, not those small little conflicts that happens from day to day, but the worst one that you can remember. Okay, all right. So think of a conflict. Now here you would then put yourself in the situation of either the two characters here. Okay, so there are a few characters that you're going to see. You're going to see this guy. What you see over here, it is the guy pulling a dog, right? Walking the dog. So the dog, this black and white dog, his name is Kai. And then the owner is Edward. Then his wife, Christi, also has a black dog, but that's the side character. We are not going to pay attention to the wife and the dog. Now, the other character is Christie's mother. That means it's Edward's mother-in-law and the little white dog, Leo. Okay, so when they come together, when they see each other, okay, the black dog, Kai, will actually react and then it leads to aggression. Okay, so I'm going to play the video. I may talk from time to time, but you just watch and put yourself in the situation. Okay, yeah. And sometimes when we are involved in a conflict, right, we don't know because we are involved in it. Now, what I want you to do is take yourself out from the situation and watch how we look like when we are having a conflict and quarreling with people. Okay? Yeah, so you look at how aggressive. Initially, the dog, the black and white dog, Kai, seems calm when he's walking until he saw the white dog, Leo, that belongs to Christi's mother, that means his mother-in-law. The dog will just go crazy. Woof. Okay. Yeah. And it is affecting the whole family because the mother-in-law cannot visit the daughter. Okay. So they don't get visits that often because when the two dogs come together, they are going to fight and humans get in the way. All right. So that's what happens when we have conflict within the family. Okay. Conflict within the workplace, right? So when two persons have conflict, the rest of the members also suffer. Okay. Yeah. So how to resolve? Because certain conflicts can last for years, and the only way to resolve the conflict is to stay apart, not talk to each other, not communicate, but that is actually not resolution. Okay, so that is actually leading to other problems of avoidance. Okay, so this particular family here suffer, okay, because of the two dogs that cannot get along. Now, here we are going to look at what causes the conflict. Now, the dog owners think that the problem is actually with this dog, Kai. Okay, now let's see what happens when the owner handle the dog and when Caesar Milan handle the dog, the same dog. Okay, so now you see this dog is really aggressive and reacting to Leo. Okay, so they engage Caesar Milan to actually help them. And according to Caesar Milan, it is Edward, the owner, that is feeding the wrong energy to the dog and therefore cause the dog to actually be aggressive. Okay, so now Caesar Milan is going to show what happens when he handles the dog. In the same day, same situation, and what will be the outcome. So now he is bringing the two dogs. Okay, there's one dog by the side. And then you see Leo. Leo is still going crazy and barking and barking and barking. But you see what happens to the two dogs now? Totally calm. You see the one with black and white, that's Kai. And Kai was sitting down there, totally not bothered by little Leo here. Interesting, right? Don't you think it's interesting? All right. Okay. So when you look at this situation here, is the dog the problem or is the owner the problem? Okay, so in this case, what happens is Caesar Milan believes that it is Edward who has caused the dog to behave in this manner. Interesting. Okay, so now bringing you back to your own conflict, let's say within the house, between family members, sometimes we tend to blame the other person for being reactive, okay, for behaving this way and that, okay, and sometimes we may not be aware that we could be the one, okay, through our energetic field, influence the other person. Now, what did Edward do to actually cause Kai to become so aggressive and attack other dogs? Okay, now this one has sound, so you will listen to his sharing and Caesar Milan's explanation for the dog's misbehavior.
What makes it hard for you to step up and lead him?
Yeah, with Kai, I mean, I relate to him like him having been abandoned, me coming from a broken home, growing up with an absent father, and it just makes me really connected to him.
Right.
You know, now I know that I haven't processed a lot of that stuff. I displace a lot of my feelings onto him. Yeah.
Everybody does. Yeah. But by projecting your own stories and insecurities on him, that makes you reluctant to give the leadership he needs.
Wow.
Kai was abandoned at the shelter, and Edward sees himself as having been abandoned as a child by his father. But those stories of abandonment from the past are showing up in his own family today because they are fueling Kai's aggression, which divides them from Christi's mother. We all have stories to tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's how fast you let it go, things that have served no purpose, because it hurts.
Yeah.
Reunifying his family will require that Edward let go of the story he's telling both about himself and the dog.
Okay, so it was what? It was actually Edward projecting his past, his own insecurity, his own issues about abandonment. So now that they have adopted an abandoned dog, which is Kai, so Edward treats the dog the way he thinks the dog feels. All right, so he is not taking the leadership to show how the dog should actually behave, but he project, his own energy, emotions that is related to how he perceived his abandonment onto somebody at home. And this happens to be the dog. Okay, so there is a receiver that is sensitive. So the person or the individual that is sensitive to that energy that is being projected will be the one that becomes that chaotic. So when you look at the dog, right? Okay, so out of insecurity, fear, etc., that the dog is really acting up. You see or not? So you see, but when we project this energy, right, we actually can't see the energy that we are projecting. But from the people around us and their responses, especially the one that is very, very sensitive to the energy, that person will actually feel it a lot. Okay, yeah. So you see, Caesar in this case is the person with the calm and confident energy. So the moment he took over the dog with his calm and confident energy, immediately the dog will actually reflect his energy, which is calm and confident, and the dog can just sit down there next to the Leo, the white dog that is barking away. You see or not? Because why? The dog is actually reflecting Caesar Milan's energy. So if you look at your home, okay, so I'm not saying that who is the dog and who is the human. It's not that. It's about who is the energy sensitive one. Okay, in this case, animals are very sensitive to energy and they often respond according to the energy of their owners. So in the home, there can be individuals who are very sensitive to the energy of the people. So they can sense it, okay? They become restless, they become fearful, they become anxious, or they become snappy, okay? Snap at people, or they become aggressive, or become depressed, okay, because of the energy in their surrounding. So imagine if you are the mother, okay, and you have a baby and you are holding and cradling the baby, and here you are having a lot of frustration, anger with your spouse. So you are actually projecting that energy to the baby, and baby are very sensitive, and the baby will act up, cry, cannot sleep, and all that. So we think that something is wrong with the baby, okay, instead of thinking that we could be the one that is contributing to the energy. Okay, so what I want you to actually think today is to change our understanding about conflicts. Why is it so difficult to handle certain people? Why are you affected, when somebody is in the room and all that? So are you the receiver or are you the one that projects that energy and that fear? Now, what can we project? There are 5 areas that we can project based on our past. Okay, and this is actually the findings of Dr. Lotte Valentin. Yeah, so go and do more research on her work if you are interested. And these are the 5 areas that we can actually affect our relationship. The first one is called lineage break. Okay, what's a lineage break? It means that something has happened in the past and the person involved or affected hated it so much that you want to stop it and not pass it down to the next generation. Okay, for example, there's a client, and this client's mother gambles a lot. Okay, and as this client grew up as a teenager, she became the punching bag of the mother, because whenever the mother gambles and lost money, and when the mother comes home, okay, the anger, the frustration, and all that will be lashed onto this particular teenager. And she promised herself that she will never ever gamble, okay? And she hated gambling. She's, really like, this is such a bad thing. And now what happens is she married into a family. And then in this family, let's say every Chinese New Year, right, they will come together and you know what they do? They will play mahjong, okay? And or they will play cards, for family interaction, bonding, and all that. What do you do, right, to sit together? So they start to play on that. And this person here, who has this, who renounced gambling, who hated people who gamble, create a big fuss when she saw people sitting down there playing with small money, making small bets, so that disgust, that hatred for people who gamble starts to play out when she saw people playing mahjong and betting small money even within that family. So, automatic you act up because of, let's say, a vow, a promise that you make to yourself, like you really hate this, and you would stop anybody from getting involved in gambling. So you will stop your children, you will stop your husband, okay, from participating, and that create the conflict. And your children or the other party may not know what's wrong. It's just Chinese New Year. We are just playing for a few days. We are not an addicted gambler. Okay. But to this person, cannot. Cannot means cannot. The brain, the subconscious just freak out. So this is one possible reason. So it may apply to, let's say, alcohol. Okay, so this person may be a victim of somebody who is alcoholic, okay, gambling, abuse. So let's say this person has been physically abused before, hit by the parents and all that. And now when she become a parent, you will be like, no, I'm not going to ever lay my hands on my children and therefore stop all the disciplining completely. Okay, so there could be a conflict between spouse. One will say, why is all right, just a slight one, and to correct a mistake. But no, this can become a source of conflict because they come from two very different worlds. All right. Okay. So now the next one is interruption of love. Okay. Now, interruption of love can be blocked, meaning that a person may be enjoying love from the parents, lots of love, lots of attention, very blissful, very happy as a child. And then suddenly, okay, either through natural disaster, an accident, or disease, that somebody or both parents, either one or both parents, was taken away. And the flow of love suddenly stopped. The next day, this person is an orphan, the two parents were gone, okay, or one of the parent, okay, died of certain disease, and the love was stopped. And I have clients who are still talking about the father who died of a certain disease. Okay, because even though the mother was still around, the mother's love was different. It was the father's love that she was craving for. So throughout life, she just felt that nobody loved her anymore after the passing of the father. Okay? Yeah. So cannot get out of that situation because of interruption of love. So because of that, this person, although married, is still craving for the father's love. And then the mother's love is different. The husband's love just cannot close the gap, you know. So it starts to drift the couple apart. Okay? Yeah. And then the other one is could not be expressed, meaning that certain individuals, they are not brought up with lots of kisses and hugging and all that, you know. And then when they have children, they do not know how to do that. They are not able to express that love, okay, through touch, okay, through kisses, okay. So they can't. So as a result, what happens if the spouse love language is actually touch, that means holding hands, wants to kiss, wants to hug, and therefore this person is not able to do that because of the way of the upbringing, you know. Yeah, nobody shows love like that. Okay, so it becomes another conflict, all right, in that love relationship. Okay, now generational rejection is a relay of rejections. Okay, so each generation is reenacting the original rejection. Now, let's say in the early years, right? Our grandparents' generation, you know, when you talk about interfaith marriages or interracial marriages, all right? Um, yeah, so the parents usually will reject to that, okay? Yeah, so what happens is if the parents reject this particular person because of the let's say interracial or interfaith marriage, then what happens is when this couple have their own children, so the person, let's say it's the guy, right? The guy will then repeat the same thing to find something in their children's life and then will reject their children, okay, or one of the children in that same manner. So this time around, it may not be interfaith or interracial, but there will be something else. Maybe it's the choice of career, you know, yeah, or the choice of wife or husband, you know, there will be something that they will pick and then they will again find reason to reject the person. So it will go on from generation to generation, and this is called generational rejection. Okay, yeah, so this will create a lot of unnecessary conflict, and then you will find, yeah, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? You know, because it is not something that is logical or explainable. Okay, it's just transmitted. All right, so it's a behavior that's transmitted. Now, the next one is called hidden alignment. When you're aligned with somebody, and I have seen in creative homeopathy one statement that comes out for one of the clients, and it says that the embryo, okay, can actually identify or can feel the parents' feelings, especially the mother, okay, identifies with the mother's suffering. So let's say for this person, what happens is when the mother conceive the child, right? What happened was the father actually went overseas to work. So therefore, her mother moved into her in-laws family and stay with the in-laws during the entire pregnancy period. Okay, because she's expecting the baby and the husband is working overseas. So therefore, make this arrangement and therefore went through what she perceived as suffering. Okay, and now what happens is this. When the child identify with certain suffering, they will now grow up, and then they will unknowingly sabotage their own success or happiness because they identify with somebody, either somebody who is dead or alive, they're suffering. Okay, and happiness become a betrayal. So in this case, it is the suffering of the parents. Okay, now sometimes, for example, if it's a single parent and this parent actually go through a lot of hardship to raise a child, and what happens is the child saw the parents suffering and will sabotage her own success, okay, in order to align with the mother or the parent, okay? Now, sometimes it's marriage. So let's say this is a single child family, a single parent family, and the child identify with the hardship and all the terrible uh, breakdown of the marriage, and sometimes the single parent is feeding, intoxicating the child with one-sided perception of why the marriage break down. Okay, so they may be feeding a lot of information to the child. And what happens when the child actually get married? They will unknowingly sabotage their own marriage. Okay, now sometimes out of fear or what they hear from the parent, and then subconsciously will make things play out in their own marriage, and then lead to another breakdown of the marriage. Okay, so this is actually unconscious. Okay, and it's the result of what she called hidden alignment. Hidden means you don't even know that you are actually aligning with another person. So sometimes we see like, hey, this parents, their parents' marriage break up, their own marriage also break up. Okay, so we think that it is this kind of pattern. This is actually sometimes hidden alignment. Okay, now the fifth one that is mentioned is transgenerational karma. Okay, in this one, it talks about unresolved action, debt, or trauma that travels through the bloodline until someone resolves it. And the example that was given was interesting. Okay, and this happened during the war, World War One or World War Two. Okay, I can't remember, but it was war, and a family, let's say the family was poor, and let's say the husband went to the war or died in the war, and now left with the mother to take care of children. And last time, imagine they have big families, right? And she had to steal to feed her family. Okay, so let's say there is a business that sells food, and she kept going back, to steal food so that she can feed the family, and not just her. Let's say other people are also doing the same. That particular business actually collapsed as a result. Okay, and that guilt, shame, and debt, the unpaid debt, can carry through the bloodline to the subsequent generation. So what happened was the children and even the grandchildren later on, when they have their own businesses or when they have a successful career, they will sabotage, and then they will fail in their business, in their career, for like unknown reasons. Okay, so when they trace it back, it is because of that the debt, that particular, the first one who actually started the stealing, the theft, that unpaid, unresolved debt was still there, and it carried forward in the bloodline, and the children and the grandchildren are still paying that debt. Okay, so it's unresolved. Okay, so it's interesting. Okay, how these kind of inherited patterns can actually affect our thinking, our behavior, and therefore is creating unknown suffering, conflicts in our lives. Okay? Yeah. So if there is anything that is still not resolved in this life, after I listen to all this, okay, it is better that we quickly resolve it. All right? Okay. Now, let's see what happens when you resolve this issue. So Caesar Milan has a way of resolving the issue with Edward. And when Edward's energy shift, because once you resolve that issue, you shift. Your energetic field will start to shift. And you see what happens to the dog when he shifted. So it's the same dog again. Okay, so now he's going to test. So after teaching him what to do with himself and how to overcome his feelings of abandonment and therefore put that behind and therefore assume his leadership position for his pack, for his dog pack and for his family. So he practiced and practiced, and therefore now, after about 2 weeks, Caesar Milan will come back and see how he progressed. So now you can see here Christi's mom with the Leo is in the middle, and then Edward will bring Kai walk around and to see how the dog react. So you see it's the same owner, same dog. Okay, so now he knows how to observe his energy and the dog and therefore make the correction quickly before things escalate. So now you see the dogs, the family can come close together and does not evoke that reaction. Okay, now there are people who are in conflicts in the family, and they keep asking me how to make the other person change, you know. So actually, it's not the other person that you need to change. Okay, so all you need to change is your own energetic field. All right. So as we change our own energetic field, that shift in energy will be detected by the others. Okay, they will know, they can sense the change. All right, and when they don't feel your chaos, then what happens now is calmness. So what we need to project is calm confidence. We need to identify what we need to identify these hidden issues. Once you know it, then you can solve it. Okay, now there are layers of healing, and most of the time, when we talk about healing from a conflict, okay, is usually cognitive. Okay, you say you're sorry. It's like, yeah, I won't do it again, or yeah, let's shake hands, make up, or whatsoever. It is very much cognitive. Okay, now if you only resolve a cognitive, so sometimes it will go into somatic and then it will go into the superconscious. So there are issues that will surface in your body. So you know that you have not gone deep enough if it shows in your body. And then after that, there are also healing that requires at the deeper layers, which I mentioned, superconscious. Superconscious is when you do the aura and the coach, you will see 1E6, 1E12, 1E24, and 1E36. Okay, those are actually the superconscious layers of healing that often we do not know about. Okay, so in order to stop right here and not propagate some of these inherited emotional pattern downwards. Okay, now I'm going to show you through examples so that you see what I mean. All right, so how do we use Healy and MagHealy? Now, this is one of the client. When the client comes to me, all right, it was a somatic symptom. Somatic symptom means that this person complained that he is having a cough for over 3 months and he cannot resolve the cough. Okay. Now, it does not matter whether it's a dry cough or a wet cough. That means this is not due to infection. A dry cough means you cough, but nothing comes out. You just or a wet cough means that you cough out phlegm, but it's not the yellow-green kind of infection kind of phlegm, but it's colorless. It's just lots of mucus that is coming out. So this is the somatic symptom. That means that problem has gone into the somatic layer. Okay. Now, what happens now is this person, okay, she has seen the doctor. She has done her chest x-ray. She has done all the scans. Okay. She has taken even antibiotics because the doctor suspect antibiotics, but nothing works. Okay. So when she came to me, it was already 3 months and she was at her wit's end. Okay. Yeah. So I did an analysis. And when you do the 5x5 analysis, okay, in those days, there is no MagHealy yet. So all I did was the 5x5 Healy, resonance Healy analysis. All right. Now, this is the result that I got from the analysis. And straight away, when I look at it, I told him, you don't have any lung infection or lung issue, okay? Because if the cough is the result of a lung infection, okay, or lung inflammation or lung tissue related, I would have seen what? I would have seen in the meridians, I would see lung meridians, okay? I would see deep cycle, breath of life here, okay? What else? Okay, respiratory, BEH, bioenergetic harmony, there is lungs over there. So lungs will appear. Okay, lungs will appear in the analysis because the person is still having the cough. So therefore it should surface if that's the problem. But if you look at the only lungs that appear here is actually this one, right? Breath of life. And I look at the percentage is in the normal range, which is 40 to 60. So this one, breath of life under deep cycle is okay, it's still normal. All right, so meridians and meridian 2, none of this actually show lungs. Okay, now, then I suspect it is due to emotions. It's actually psychosomatic. So it's actually emotions because deep cycle has to do with emotions. So you look at everything is okay. The percentage wise is okay. Free flow is actually the cardiovascular. So it's the heart. So it's actually stress, right? So then I look at meridians. Meridians is actually energy plus emotions, right? For example, liver is associated with anger and depression. And then kidney is fear. Stomach is worry. All right. Large intestine is grief. And all this other than 62 is within the normal range. All right. Well-being, spirit, body, mind. So well-being is telling me this is emotions again. And then if we look at meridians 2, organ highest, and then liver is anger. All right, hormone circulation, nerve can be two things. It's either physical pain, body pain, or emotional pain. Then if you look at job here is obviously emotions related. Okay, so nerve 62%. And then after that is extreme tension, fatigue, exhaustion. Exhaustion came out twice. Exhaustion acute, exhaustion system. Exhaustion acute is usually current here and now. Exhaustion system means it may be actually quite a while already. Okay, so you see the percentages here is below 40. So yeah, so all this has been quite a while because it's already 3 months, right? When the person came to me. So when I look at this chart here, Okay, I know straight away that the person is actually reacting. The body is actually reacting to actually certain emotional crisis or emotional issue in their lives. So I therefore have to show them what are the issues that they are dealing with. All right. So let's say this is somebody whom who is your family member, all right, who is having this kind of issues where the doctors cannot find out what is their reason. You may want to explore emotions, all right, their emotions. Okay, so you can then use the resonance database, do all the scans in order to find out what exactly is their issue. So for somebody who comes to me for cough, they will not straight away accept what I will tell them that is an emotional issue. You see or not? Because it is not something that is taught or propagated in the medical scene, right? That you cough because of emotional issues. So she was trying so hard to find out what's wrong with her respiratory system. So therefore, I have to give her evidence, proof that it actually comes from her emotions. So therefore, what we see here is do all this. So she cannot change what she does not know. So I have to show her what is going on. Now, likewise, if you are dealing with, let's say, a son or daughter or your spouse, okay, or parents who are having conflicts all the time, okay, what is bothering them then? When they have the conflict, that is the best time to actually scan all of this to, dissect their mind to see what's inside. Okay? All right. Now, after doing the scan, okay, these are the percentages, right? These are the percentages that surface. So from here, okay, I will only look at statements that are 60% or higher. All right. If there isn't many, I will consider 59 or 58% and read the statements to put together a picture of what is going on in this person's mind. Okay, so this is to help us to understand the situation. So the rest that is in the 50s, I won't even read it. Okay, I won't look at it because for a stranger, I do not know their situation. Okay, and even if I ask, they may or may not want to tell me what is going on. So therefore, I analyze first, then I ask. Okay, so I'm only going to look at statements that is 60 or the lowest would be about 58% or higher to see whether it tells the story. Now, this is a collation. So the next thing that I'll do is to collate, put together all those statements that is 58% or higher, and then read all the statements and you will get an idea what this person is going through. Okay, now Schussler's salt is interesting because Schussler's salt, it actually talks about respiratory organs and mucous membrane. So I took the 56% because mucous membrane appear in that statement, and mucous membrane refers to the entire respiratory lining as well. That's the mucous membrane. So I took them here and you can see the emotions that is causing the cough. Inner restlessness, unprocessed stress, torn inside and without drive. Okay? Now, this person, when I show the emotions, became very quiet, but refused to tell me anything. Okay? Bought the Healy and started to do the vibration. So that means there must be something there that actually touches her heart and convinced her that she needed the Healy, right? It was a year later that I was told she was having marital issues, and when I met her, she has already divorced. Okay, So I came back to this results again. Now that I know that this person has gone through divorce, and when I come back and look at this, now I understand what this person was going through at that point in time that caused her to call for 3 months. Okay, so that means prior to the 3 months, a lot of the unhappiness and the breakdown is all happening already. All the stresses were accumulating. So it leads to somatic, which is the cough starts to appear. Now, when you look at this, right, 78% here, lack of one's own standpoint, one's own position is not claimed. Then you look at courage over here, right? Lack the courage to stand up for what is right. Okay, so therefore, you see 66% not daring to embrace your individuality. So dare not speak up. Okay, so you have that victim mentality. So she was feeling what? She was feeling extorted, emotionally extorted. Okay, serve them rejection. That was how she felt. Rejection. Rejection, 70% to the point of self-destruction. Okay, so imagine she felt rejected in that marriage. She felt emotionally extorted when the marriage break down. Okay, and she couldn't voice out anything. She couldn't say anything. Okay, or not? Yeah, so that's why you see the percentages became very, very high for those emotions that are very, very strong. Okay, then after that, you see here money. 69% lack, feeling of lack. They have financial worries, mental exhaustion. So this one coincide with job, also exhaustion, mental exhaustion. And then there was another one which is money. All right, courage to be prosperous. So this is also money. And then the Alaskan gem, trust. Trust in the universe to achieve life goals, which means that she has a lot of fear, right? So what Healy here is showing that, you can actually trust yourself to stand up on your own 2 feet again and earn your money. All right? Yeah. So therefore, you have all this that was given to her. Now, the rejection here, you see in that 58%. Okay, what happens here? You see under bud flowers, after effects of a shock, unexpected bad news, unwelcome event, even many years ago or very early childhood, reminds her of what happened in her teenage years because she was sent to Australia to study. Okay, and she hated it. She hated being away from the family. So she sees that as rejection. Parents send the child in their teenage years to Australia to study. To the child, it's like they're being rejected. So now again, is playing back again. Okay, the same story of rejection. You see here, now when the marriage fell apart, it is another rejection. So I do not know whether it is the same as the earlier one, this kind of repeated things that is playing out over and over again because of that feelings of rejection. So it was rejection by parents, sending them to overseas, and then now in a marriage, divorce, feel rejection again. So I have no idea. Only this person would know how everything connects together. But, okay, it may help us to be more compassionate towards others if we can know what is actually going on in their lives and what they are struggling and what are the issues that are playing out again. So let's say, all right, let's say if there is a conflict in the marriage and you can't seem to understand your spouse, why your spouse behave in that way. So by doing this, what you can then do is you can then understand what are the issues. So you may be quarreling about something, okay? But at the end of the day, it was rejection. They are dealing with rejection, okay? Or they are dealing with, let's say, what else? Extortion, okay? So what in their past is actually playing out in that situation? So if we understand, we may not be so judgmental, right? Yeah, so maybe with this, it is easier to have a deeper conversation or to do the vibration to therefore help them in their field, okay, to harmonize all this, to reduce the intensity of their feeling and help them to cope. Okay, help them to cope with the situation. So if this is a child and you don't understand why the child is undergoing depression and refuse to actually come out of that situation, okay, either through treatment, through medication, if it's not helping and if it's still unstable. So this actually gives us an opportunity to know what is going on in their lives, okay, and see this, all right? Or you can actually do your own chart and do your spouse chart or do your chart and then do your son's or your daughter's chart and then compare and see whether there is anything that is similar to what you have and what your child is having now. Okay? Yeah. So you may see that there are similarities. So if there are similarities, it means that the child is actually reflecting some of the issues that we are not dealing with, that is there. We are not dealing with the elephant in the room, all right? So we ignore or we don't want to face it, okay? But that energy is still present in your home and therefore is influencing the people around you. Okay, all right. So it's not just one person's problem because if we don't resolve our energetic field, the people around us will reflect it back to us until we deal with it. Okay, all right. So what do I do with all these results now? So I come back here to the list, then I would know which list is important and which list to actually do the vibration. So definitely creative homeopathy is the first list to vibrate. Then second will be courage. Third will be, you can choose either the highest percentage or you can choose the least with the more statements to do the vibration. So it's up to you. Okay, but definitely creative homeopathy is the first one because all five are above 60 and it's the highest percentage as well. Okay, so when you have this 5 lists or 6 lists, whatever that you have, vibrate 1 list per day. You can vibrate 1 list per day. So you can do 1 hour or even 9 hours. Okay, like let's say in this case with 78%, I will do 4 hours or even 9 hours for this person because it's very, very high. Okay, if not, you can do 3 lists per day.
आप फिर
All
से
right,
यहाँ
so
रहेंगे
you can do.
जोर जोर से चिल्लाए पैनिक खुद हो हमें करे अफेक्ट नहीं हो
So you can do, like, let's say creative homeopathy and then sugar salt, courage. You can do 3 lists a day. And then each list you do 27 minutes, 27 minutes, 27 minutes, or you can do 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. Okay. Yeah. So this list you can use for 1 whole week or 2 weeks. And then after that, you analyze again. So if you have the time, then you can also analyze it every single week. And then each week you have a new list. Then you can actually follow through with the progress of the person involved. Okay. So either your own progress or the other party that you have conflict with, okay, or that have the issues. All right. Okay, then what to do with this one here? All right, the 5x5, right? You can do your 38 seconds, stimulate 7 times, followed by 27 minutes for 1 week. So you will choose those that is 60% or higher. So like here under watch meridian, you can't vibrate. Sorry, you can't vibrate watch meridian because watch is no longer available. So you can do meridian 2 organ. in the pink app, then you can go to job and do balance nerve on the pink app. Okay? Yeah. Or you can vibrate the list in the blue app. Okay? For example, each list here, you can do 27-minute vibration, or you can do 1 hour vibration. Each list, 1 list a day or 2 lists a day, up to you. Okay, so you can have your timetable. So how I normally do is morning, afternoon, and then night. Okay, so you can do this one here, the Healy database, let's say in the morning, and then afternoon, you can do maybe the pink app, and then night, you can do the emotions. Okay, yeah. So you can segment it this way so that you know what to do with your time. Okay, so if you're working in the middle of the day, then maybe you just do in the morning and then you just do at night, just twice a day. So that is also possible. Okay, so there's no right or wrong. You have to follow your availability and then make your adjustment revolve around your own schedule. Okay, all right. Now, the other somatic symptom that I've come across is actually skin outbreak. You have tried all kinds of steroid creams, seen the doctor, tried various treatment. If it's still persistent, you may want to consider that it could be psychosomatic. Okay, yeah, meaning that there are emotional stresses that is actually because of this. All right. Now, there was a client, when she met me, she told me that she started using Healy because she has very severe eczema. And where is the eczema? The eczema is actually on her hand, her palm. Okay, so it was so bad that the palm was blistered. Okay, blistered means that fluids actually is oozing out, and her whole hand is actually sticky, and she always have to like hold tissue paper to absorb the fluid. So it was that bad. So as she was telling me her situation, I look at her, from head to toe, and then I said, show me your hand. And then her hand was perfect. Everything was good. So I said, I don't see any skin outbreak. So I asked her which Healy program helped her. She said none of the skin programs helped her. So when she started with the Healy, she actually used all the skin programs, beauty skin program, right? For the skin, it did not work, makes no difference to her. Until one day, she had very bad quarrel with a boyfriend. Okay, conflict, huge conflict. And she went to Power of Three and she started using on the pink app conflict balance. Okay. And you know what happens? She observed that her palms dried up after the first initial use. Okay, the blisters actually stopped. So she was surprised. So every day she started to use conflict balance every single day. And you know what? Her skin healed. Her skin healed totally until when I met her, I couldn't see any sign of skin issues at all. Okay, so this is another example of conflicts that can result in somatic symptoms. That means body symptoms. Okay, now, if anyone has gone through depression, severe loss, crisis, okay, Power of Three here is actually good for big crisis. Okay, for example, business failure, bankruptcy, divorce, sudden loss, grief, okay, depression, and you cannot seem to get out of it, follow this protocol, okay? This protocol here that I've shown here, each day run 2 programs, and you repeat this, okay, 2 to 3 times a day, all right? Meaning what? Monday, for example, if you start on day 1, Monday, you use conflict, and immediately after that, use rebalance. 2 programs at a time. You can do this in the morning with, let's say, 15-30 minutes break between conflict balance and rebalance, all right? So you use this pair in the morning, okay? Then in the evening, you can use it again, conflict balance and rebalance. If your situation is very, very severe, then you can do 3 times, okay? That means it's so severe that you are even not working, right? So you will do it, conflict balance and rebalance in the morning, then afternoon, repeat, and then evening, repeat this pair 3 times. So 2 to 3 times. You can do this for over 3-week period for very severe cases. Okay, and then Tuesday will be the same thing, but it will be defense support with rebalance, this pair. All right, 3rd day, Wednesday, will be friendly Flora with rebalance. Okay, and then Thursday, you repeat again this pair, and then Friday, this pair, and then Saturday will be this pair. Okay, and then Sunday, you take a complete rest, and then you start again for over 3 weeks. All right, okay, so this is to resolve conflict and all the side effects of that conflicts. Okay, yeah. And what happens when you use conflict balance is that people told me that after a conflict, if you use conflict balance, you make up as if nothing has happened. Okay? Yeah. So there is no gap and there is no awkwardness when you make up with a person. Okay? Yeah. And it's so fast. Some of them tell me that within 10 minutes of vibrating conflict balance, even using the blue app, using power of 3, within 10 minutes, the person's temperature, anger, level of anger and aggression will just simmer down significantly. Okay? Yeah. So power of 3, you can, if you're using this protocol, best to use it either with your Healy high wave or with your electrodes. Okay, use it with electrodes. Unless you have metals in the body that is not suitable for that, then you can use the coil, high wave, and you can even use the blue app. Okay, now let's say if spouse having that severe conflict, you can create a group in the blue app. Okay, create a group. That means husband and wife, spouse, on the right hand, hold this Healy device. So the husband and the wife put them together here and record the vibration. That means the combined vibration. And then you analyze power of 3. Okay. And then do the vibration for both at the same time. Okay. Yeah. So this group here can be with anyone. Let's say with your son, or let's say the son and the daughter are both having bad conflict, then they can do the same. All right. So yeah, that is provided they are willing to cooperate with you to record the vibration. Okay. Yeah. So somebody wants me to repeat something. Okay. That means for son and daughter, is it? Let's say children, 2 children are having conflict. Yes, you can create the group for them. Okay. Then, picture, you don't need picture at all. For the blue app, only aura requires a photograph. Okay. Yeah. So power of three, how to do the analysis? Okay, you create the group under client, right? Choose the group, and then it will prompt you to record the vibration of the group lah. Whether it's two person that have the conflict or you want the whole family also can. Because then if there are four of you, then all four of you put your right hand together, hold the Healy, and then record your collective vibration. Then after that, you just go to the analysis, choose power of three. Straight away choose power of three and analyze. So it will give you 5 programs from here. So it may not come out exactly this 4. It may come out conflict balance, defense, and maybe classical energetic and another 2. Okay or not? But it does not matter. You can just do the vibration. Yeah, whatever that comes out, you can just do the vibration. Okay, all right. Then somebody asks, is it all right to use 6 times wire in a day? Okay, because you're using 2. Okay. If the percentage is low, it may be okay. All right. If you find that it's too much, switch to coil. Okay, switch to coil. Yeah. So make sure that you drink enough water. Okay, because otherwise you'll feel very dry, dehydrated. Okay, all right. Now, defense support. What is this defense support? This defense support, sorry, I do friendly flora first. All right. Now, friendly flora, why do you need friendly flora? Friendly flora here is actually the gut bacteria. All right. So this is to support the gut bacteria. So you may want to also take in the probiotics. Okay. Probiotics to have the input of gut bacteria and use this to support your gut bacteria to replenish, all right? Because the bacteria here actually produce certain chemicals that are favorable to the brain, all right? So it helps the brain in terms of its neural pathway, all right? The endocrine pathway to create the balance in the brain so that you can get out of the depressive feelings, okay? And whatever that is holding you back and troubling you. So it brings down all the neural stresses. Okay. Yeah. Then the defense support is actually this. Okay. This particular bioenergetic defense here. So this defense support here is to support you because when you are having a bad conflict, having a bad quarrel, for example, their words play in your mind repeatedly, circling in your head. So you want to have a mental defense. Okay, this one here. All right, so your feel, subtle feel will be affected by their energy, yeah, because you will be having damage, leakage, etc. So it protect, defend your subtle field. And then what happens here is your sleep. So because these are all the side effects of having that conflict, right? You cannot sleep at night. So here, this is defending and protecting you when you are sleeping so that you are able to sleep. You're able to relax. All right. Then the general protection, cell harmony here will be defending you from, let's say, your immunity. Because of the stress, your whole immune system is going to decrease, compromise, and therefore here, okay, you have the protection. So the defense support here will be all of this, okay, in that one program, you are actually supporting yourself, defending your body in so many different areas. Okay. Right. Okay, so other programs that you can use, let's say if you feel exhausted, whether you are the victim, okay, because let's say father and son are having quarrels and then you are the mother, and then you are stuck in between. So you have to maintain your calm, confident energy to be stronger than their chaotic energy so that you can be the influencer. Okay, so you become the Caesar Milan in your home. Okay, you have to exude calm confidence. Then all those people will simmer down because of your energetic field. All right, so if you are affected by all these things, then job. Job, I find that if you run it on the blue app for let's say 1 hour, 4 hours, it makes you feel really good, relaxed, okay, without all these burdens, you know. So it is really helpful. I like this. Okay. Then now you see like just now, right? Balance nerve keep coming out, right? Balance nerve under meridian, nerve will appear. Now, whenever you see nerves, there are two possibilities. One is a pain, physical pain, joint pain, etc. The other one is the emotional pain. Now, why is it nerve? Because the nerve here, they are involved in the release of either your stress hormone, your cortisol, um, then your serotonin or your happy hormone, which is dopamine. So balance nerve here is to actually balance the activity of the nerve so that you don't have a surge of cortisol and all the stress hormones, okay? And then very, very low on the dopamine, which is your happy hormone, and then you will go into depression. So balance hormones, and when you see nerve here, is to actually bring the balance so that your stress hormones, okay, will go down, and then your happy hormones will actually go up. Okay, so that's why nerves. You see a lot of nerves. Okay, yeah. Then you can also use MagHealy if you have under McMakin. So McMakin here has all the programs that you need. Sleep, emotions, brain harmony, thalamus, nerve again, and vagus nerve. You see two sets of nerves over here. Now, why are there so many different nerve? Because after a conflict is the nerve. The nerve is the one that pick all these things up from your environment and then tell you whether it's safety or danger. So if husband and wife quarrel, the children, especially very young children, let's say if they hear your quarrel or if they witness the way you fight, their nervous system will pick all this up as danger, 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 danger. Okay, and it's stored in the nervous system. Okay, so, and then what happens is as they grow up, all this information remains in their system. Okay, so they will play out. So they will play out all these things. So their marriage will become like your marriage as well. Okay, yeah. So their relationship with the father, son, then they are going to repeat the same thing with their children again. Because why? You can't run away from all this information that are already stored in your nervous system. So it will play out when the situation comes, the nervous system will say, hey, remember this? Okay, it was remember this when you were small, this happened. Remember this. So it will keep reminding you to protect you to protect you. You see or not? So don't go there. Don't do this. Okay. Yeah. So, so that's why you can be sabotaged by the nervous system. All right. So, yeah. So vagus nerve, you see vagus nerve in McHealy is important. Okay. The others, nerves will include everything. Nerves will include the sympathetic, parasympathetic nerves. Okay. All the nerves. Vagus will be in particular the dorsal vagus and the ventral vagus because it is responsible for what? Helplessness, depression, shame, trapped. Yeah. All right. So when they see parents fighting in a marriage, trapped, cannot do anything. So in their own marriage, when it happens, they feel trapped, okay? Or they feel ashamed, or they feel helpless. It's the same thing. They're going to replay their reaction. All right. Now, ventral is the one that helps you to overcome things like that and continue in that positive social engagement. So these two here, so you need to harmonize the two. Okay, yeah. So many times we are just hijacked by our nervous system. So that's why all this thalamus is here, the center point here that collects all the information and then tell the brain what to do. Okay, yeah. So whenever the event that is very similar, it will say again, hey, last time this happens, so you must behave this way. Oh, last time this happened, you must behave this way. So when a person, let's say you are confronted, somebody shout at you, and then immediately you feel helpless, you go quiet and then you freeze. Then your husband will be thinking, why? Talk to me, but you just freeze. You just can't open your mouth. You have no voice, okay? Because the feeling of trap came back, the feeling of suffocation came back. Yeah, so it becomes very difficult to actually resolve because of the memory that is stored in our nervous system. So we get hijacked. We lose your ability to reason. Okay, you're completely hijacked already. So these are the programs that you can actually use. Okay, yeah. All right, so yeah. So you see here that it is so important that we do not just resolve conflict just at the cognitive level. All right. Yeah. So go deeper. If somatic symptoms surface, resolve, help your body to actually cope, and then find out what is the actual issue. Okay. So if you are quarreling over to send your child to a co-ed school or to a girls' school, and then you quarrel over this, it's actually not that you are disagreeing. There are something underlying, that causes the conflict. Okay, so here Healy coach, aura, the resonance all allow us to actually look into the brain. All right, scan the brain, the thoughts, the feelings, and all that. What exactly is actually inside? Okay, yeah. And the superconscious, right? The superconscious is actually about the 1E6, E12, 24, 36. So if you don't resolve this right now, if you don't clear all this from your nervous system, okay, you are going to pass all this to your next generation. Okay, that means the earlier ones, before you use Healy, are already passed down already. So if you already have children, it's already passed down already, whatever that is in your nervous system. Okay, so that means the way you respond to your mother or your father is already passed down to your children if you already have your children. Okay, so now what you do is you have to then help them to actually clear all this so that it stop at them and not pass it down further. Okay, all right. So thank you so much. Okay, so I'll see you again next week. Bye.
You